love, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel, Sheena Goss Music. My name is Sheena, and today I have a brand new tutorial for you by Naomi Raine. God will work it out. So let's get into it. The key we are in is D major. Okay? That is the key of the song. So let's start out with the verse. All right? The first chord in the verse is going to be this G major chord. All right? So we have a 9 here. All right? So we got a G major 9. Left hand, we have G, D, F sharp. Right hand, we have A, B, and D. So just to give you context, the melody that goes over this line goes. Okay, so it's Before I Knew My Name. Okay, so we have that first chord. There are 2 chords on this first line. So we have this G major 9, and then all we're going to do to get to this E minor chord is move this and move this. Okay? Left hand, we have E, B, F sharp. Right hand, still A, B, and D. If that is too much of a reach for you, you can go right here. Okay? The next chord is going to be a B minor. B minor 11. Okay? Left hand, we have B, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, and E in the right hand. You don't have to play that B since you already have it in the bass, but if you want to, you can. Okay? Let's review the first few chords we have. Next, we're going to go to this D major chord, okay? Now, if you look at it, if you take this B out of my right hand, this is actually an A major chord over a D major chord. We're just adding this B in here, okay? So in the left hand, we have D, F sharp, A. Right hand, we have B, C sharp, and E, okay? So let's put all those together. Okay, now the second part that we're going to go into is the pre-chorus, okay? And this is going to be in both verses. So we still have this. Okay, you're still gonna do this here. We're gonna go from G to the E to the B. The only difference now is we're going to go to A major. Okay, that's I'm too far to turn around. Okay, so that is the pre-chorus. Let's go over it again. We have my heart is full of doubt, feels like my faith is running out, too far to turn around. I know that. Now we're on the chorus. God will work it out. Okay, so it's still that G. God will work it out. Back to the E. God will work it out. So you go from that B to the A. And then here we go. One thing I know, still on that G. One thing I've found to the A is that my God, G, will work it out. Okay, so one thing I know, one thing I found, my God will work it out. Okay, so that covers the first 2 verses and the pre-chorus. So now we're going to go into the bridge. So be still. Be still. Okay? So, still, we're going back and forth between the same chords that we started out with, the G, A, B. So, be still. All right? Left hand, we have G, D, F sharp, right hand, A, B. We're not changing anything except that G now moves to the A. Be still, be still. Okay? We're gonna go up to that C sharp. Now we're gonna go here. All right? Left hand, bass, we have B. Right hand, we have F sharp, A, D. Next one. So we have this A major over C sharp. Left hand, we have C sharp. Right hand, A, C sharp, E. My God, okay? So we have D major. So this is an inversion, root, first, second inversion of D major. D in the bass. Right hand, A, D, F sharp. F sharp. Okay, so I'm gonna play it all together with the melody just to give you more context, all right? Okay, and you repeat that for however many times you're going to repeat it. If you are the minister of music or the MD, or you know, if you are in charge and you're leading the band, you get to determine how many times you're going to go back and forth with that. Otherwise, just pay attention to the MD or whoever is leading the band. Because God will work it out. Okay? You go back to the chorus. God will work it out to that A. One thing I know, one thing I found, and then it goes back again. One thing that repeats. One thing I found, one thing I okay? Then there is a small change. Instead of going back and forth between that G and that A, listen to the vocalist, because it goes from and then before it goes from the G to the A, then the G to the B. But the vocalist does this. One thing I know, one thing I found, one thing I know. And it keeps going back and forth between those two chords, and then one thing I know, one thing I found, one thing I know, one thing I found. Let's do it. Is that God? So you see how we went back to that? Okay? So anytime you want to do a turnaround, you go, because God will work it out. Okay? You go G, A, D. Okay? And the last half, he's working it out. He's good like that. So the only difference on this part is that it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more syncopation the bass line is moving a little bit more. The same chords are used. G, E, B, and D, okay? Same chords, and then they vamp out on those chords. So he's working and working it out. He's got like that, working it out. He's got like that, working it out. Now let's go over some passing chord options that you have here. He's working it out. Okay, so I passed on that E flat. So I'll go from the G to the E flat, and in my left hand I have E flat. You can also do this over F sharp. Actually, let's do it over F sharp. You can do either one. E flat or F sharp in the bass. Right hand is going to be G sharp, A, B, E. So let's do it with the pass on the F sharp to the E. Do that again. Okay, that's a passing chord option. Let's try with the E flat. A little bit more tension there, I like that one. So that's with the E flat. Same right hand, G sharp, A, B, E over E flat, and then you head into that E minor. Okay? Okay, now let's see what we can pass on before we get to that B. So we have G. Okay, that's a more stretched out voicing. If you want to do this voicing for E minor, I just automatically went there. Left hand I have E, B, F sharp. Right hand I have A, B on my thumb, D, F sharp, and then A. Again, you don't have to do that. I just like how it sounds. It sounds really full and really open. So now we're going to figure out what passing chord we're going to use before we get to the B. Okay, I like that one. It sounds nice. Okay, so passing chord before we go to the B, this option you can do. Left hand you have C, G sharp, A sharp, E, then, okay, back to that B. Let's think of another passing chord option. I'm thinking we're gonna pass on that B flat. Okay. I like that one. Let me try that. Yes, I like that one too. So, left hand we have B flat, F. Let me keep it in B flat, A sharp. Okay, same thing. We're right here. I'm so used to doing it flat, but we're in D, so we're gonna say A sharp here, F, G sharp, back to the B. Okay. Now let's talk about a passing chord before you go back to the G and start everything over again. All right, let's do. This one. Left hand we have G sharp, D sharp. Right hand we have B and E. So let's put all these passing chord options together. Now I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes. You don't have to use all these passing chords at once. I would advise you not to. Just kind of, you know, sprinkle them in here and there. So here we go. Just use a few different options there. I would advise you doing this towards the end of the song, maybe a little bit in the middle, but the way I like to look at songs is you establish. So you have the basic structure of the song that you're going to play it straight. Then on the second verse, you embellish a little bit. So you add a few grace notes, maybe some, you know, a passing chord or two here and there. Once you get past the bridge and you're vamping out, then you expand. So establish, embellish, expand. All right, thank you all so much for watching. If this is your first time here, thank you. And if you've been here before, Thank you for sticking with me, watching the videos, commenting on the videos. If you're new, thank you for commenting. Thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you for the subscribers that have been with me over the years. Thank you all so much. May the Most High continue to bless you all. Peace and love. And y'all willing, I will see you all next week.